ばんは。グラントを問います。よろしくお願いします。日本は好きな人々と美味しい食べ物がある美しい国です。So today I'm going to be talking about the pros and the cons of living in Japan as an ALT. Um, one thing I learned about the ALT thing or assistant English teacher, because or at least the way I think about it is you're not actually an English teacher, you're an assistant to a JTE or a Japanese teacher of English. So the way I look at it is, it's a way to travel. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about or at least 8 reasons why, or I'm gonna give 8 pros to being an ALT in Japan. Okay, so ALT, that's how you get your work visa to come over here and to live in Japan and stuff. You have to renew it every year. So the pros to living in Japan is you got friendly people and they're very polite. Even if people like over here don't like you, they still know how to be polite about it. So Japan does have a polite society. Not everybody is like you can't go to a place out of 100. I think Japan has a population of 125 million or 130 million people. You're gonna have differences here and there, but for the most part, Japanese people are very polite. Like when I was in the United States, I got to the point where I didn't like going out to restaurants. I didn't like calling restaurants to order food, even though of course, you do have the what they call like Grubhub and DoorDash and stuff like that. It was just like I got to the point where I wasn't talking to nobody in the United States, except for it was a Dominican family that owned the store, and they were Christians, and go figure, those were the only people I actually talked to. Everybody else, I just got to the point where I wasn't talking to nobody in Connecticut. But like over here, you go into a Japanese convenience store and you're gonna hear "Irashimasu," which is that's the way of saying welcome. Or if you go into a ramen shop or any restaurant, you're gonna get the "Irashimasu." Especially if Japanese people see you a foreigner, they're gonna go out their way to be, very polite. They like to represent their business and not just their business, their country and their people very well. That's something that you don't really see in the United States with the rude service. People act like you're wasting their time. Just go into like a Walmart. I'm pretty sure there's some Walmarts in the United States that got decent people in there, but man, in Hartford, Connecticut, where I used to live, unfortunately, I got to the point where I didn't even talk to nobody. I just knew what I was gonna get and walked in and went to the self checkout. And even sometimes going to the self checkout, that was a hassle. And I would be in Walmart no longer than like 15 minutes, and that includes pulling up in a parking lot trying to find a parking space. So you got friendly people, and you get like polite. I mean, a lot of people try to be very polite here. And that goes into the good customer service. Excellent customer service. That's like the second pro to being in Japan. You're gonna get that almost everywhere you go. It's you might run into a place here and there. You'll never know the experience they had before you, where you might not get that. I know people talk about the gaijin thing, like how some places in Japan say no gaijins are no foreigners. The reason, like, if you see some of the foreigners out here, you'll see why that is. Because some foreigners like don't know how to act. Like if you go into a Japanese ramen shop, they don't say this, but they really want you in and out. It's not they being rude or nothing like that, but everybody in Japan understands that. But sometimes foreigners come in there and they just malinger and hang around there, and or they take a long. Like I was with this one dude, he was taking forever to eat his ramen. His ramen wasn't even like spicy and stuff. He was like sniffling stuff because some people can't handle spicy food. My ramen was super spicy. It was red. It was like legit. I'm from California and I can handle spicy food. But that ramen was pretty spicy. It was like, okay, they got some spice over here. And his ramen was barely spicy and he couldn't handle it, but he was taking a long time to eat the ramen. And I looked around and I was like, dude, I noticed that people been in and out and we still kind of here. So I was just like, yo, we've been here kind of a while and stuff. And, he kind of was like didn't care really. But I see why sometimes Japanese say no guys, I mean, you'll see it. You'll see exactly why that is sometimes. Another thing is that so the third pro is that it's cheap over here. A lot of things are cheap, like food, grocery. Even though you get smaller portions over here, And you'll see people over here that's fat, and some especially foreigners. You see like fat foreigners and stuff like that. I don't know how to get fat over here, man. I'm pretty sure like I'm probably 8% body fat, and I'm pretty sure I done lost like maybe a little bit of muscle mass since I've been over here. Even though I'm pretty regimented, so I'm pretty sure I probably done lost some muscle mass. But anyway, like a lot of things over here is cheap. And of course, this can coincide with how much you get paid and stuff like that, which that's another topic. But yeah, things are reasonable. Let me say, like Japanese people are not trying to rip off their own people. So that's the third pro. The fourth pro is that the food is healthier. Like if you look on the back, I'm pretty sure if you look into the ingredients on anything like chips or something over here in Japan, you ain't gonna see it ain't gonna look like the ingredients to bleach like what you see in the United States. Most of the ingredients on the back of anything in the United States, you can't even pronounce a lot of that stuff. That sounds like something they used to kill a rat. You know, like maltodextrin. Like what is that? That's a filler. It's actually like, even though it's not sweet, it's actually like 3 times higher on the glycemic index than white sugar. But they allowed to put that in food and wonder why we have a diabetes epidemic in the United States. So the food over here is healthier. You will taste it. Even if you buy something out of a convenience store, you're gonna notice that it's not as salty as what you would get in the United States. You'll notice that even sweets over here they're not as sweet. They don't like put a whole gang of sugar and all these other bleach ingredients inside their food. So the fourth pro is healthy food. The fifth pro is the work that I do as an ALT is easy. It's pretty easy. I mean, sometimes I say the hardest thing about it is 2 things, which I get into when I talk about the cons. But one of the hardest things about it is sometimes dealing with a JTE, a Japanese teacher of English, who is insecure. And the second thing, which is not the worst, is the boredom sometimes. Because like next week I have, like on Wednesday, I don't have no classes. So I'm just going to be there all day. So what I do is I just try to either study Japanese, which I'm not really doing anymore, or study Chinese, or I'm writing another book that I'll talk about later. So the work is pretty easy. It's just you might have to deal with some boredom. That's about it. But I have a computer and everything. Like at my school they have computers, and I'm on a computer, and I don't like people seeing what I'm doing. But usually I'm looking up something constructive. But are trying to make a lesson plan, and that kind of kills some of the boredom. So that's like the fifth pro, is that the work is easy. The sixth pro is that since I'm an ALT in Japan, I've been to Sendai, in Koriyama. I haven't had a chance to travel much because it's been cold. I don't like traveling when it's cold. Even in Germany, I was kind of the same way. In the United States, I was the same way. I just don't like being out when it's cold. But when you do go out and you get a chance to meet run into some of the Japanese women out here, they are very beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful girls out here. I just keeping it real. I'm not saying you should come out here and be all lustful and stuff. I'm just telling you what I see. There's a lot of beautiful girls out here, very feminine, but that doesn't mean that Japanese women are pushovers or that you can walk all over them and that they're, it's this thing going around saying that like Asian women are submissive. Asian women are not really submissive. They're not. They just know how to play their role better than what you will see probably in your home country. I say that much. But man, if you try to do one of their roles and stuff like, I don't know, I don't want to go too much into this, but if you try to it was this one woman where I noticed that she would clean up after me, even though if I didn't ask her to. But one time I tried to do the same thing for her, and she nearly bit my head off. So you don't want to intrude into their womanly roles. You don't ever want to do that in Japan. In Asian culture, people are not confused about what they are and who they are. A boy is a boy, a girl is a girl, a man has a role, and a woman has a role. If you intrude into that woman role, they will bite your head off. All right? So they ain't all that submissive. They just know how to act out their part better than what you see in your home country, where people don't know whether they're a boy or a girl, which way is up, which way is down. Yeah, they don't know their right hand from their left. That's what you'll see in Western nations, really. And so that's the 6 Pro. The 7 Pro is that it's beautiful scenery out here. When I go for runs, it's a route that I take when I'm doing like a 5K um or a 5 or 10K. It's a route that I take, and it goes along a river. It's a path that goes along a river, and you can see like the mountains, and you can see the clouds grazing the mountains. So it's like you've seen a river and mountains and stuff like that. And then I run into the rice field. I'm not running inside the rice fields, but the street that I run down, it's like rice fields on both sides. And then it gets to like a wood line, where if you go into the wood line and go up this like little path, it takes you close by this shrine. So I don't really go into shrines and temples and stuff in Japan, but it's a sight to see. It's really nice, especially like in the summertime or spring, summer. It's really nice to see. So that's the 7 Pro, the beautiful scenery, and the 8 Pro is low crime. I'm pretty sure you heard about that before, man. I got careless over here, dude. I sometimes leave my car door unlocked. I leave my I didn't got careless, left my door unlocked. I done got careless over here, man. Like off the rip almost. Japanese people just don't steal. I haven't experienced it. I don't even worry about it. So that's the 8 Pro to living in Japan. But the way I can live in Japan is as an AOT, or assistant language teacher. So those are some pros to being an AOT in Japan. And with that said, I end it right there. So next video, I'll go into the cons. Later.